BBC South East today, Halland near Uckfield.
The MP for Bexhill and Battle has apologised to constituents affected by the government's plans to turn a former prison into asylum seeker accommodation. But he made it clear he won't be opposing the plans because he says he refuses to be a NIMBY. Huw Merriman hosted a meeting earlier today with local authorities and the Home Office to discuss plans for the Northye site just outside Bexhill. He gave our political editor, Charlotte Wright, an exclusive interview afterwards. Well, Charlotte joins us now. And Charlotte, there is widespread local opposition to these plans.
Yes, particularly at the housing estate which borders the site, as you can imagine, where there are to be 1,200 men eventually, the first 400 coming this September. We've been down there today speaking to residents about their concerns, and they raised everything from infrastructure to security.
50 houses here are families, all with kids. Obviously, everyone's really concerned.
What exactly are you concerned about?
Well, there's no security checks, as I understand. They turn up with no passports. There's not going to be a CRB, is there?
We don't know if they're good, bad. We don't know.
People might say that these are asylum seekers coming over seeking a better life, and they're not going to cause any trouble because they want their asylum claim to be processed. What would you say to that?
What do I say to that? What about my children's lives? Why can't they have the life they've had for the last 5 years, walking around, playing around, being allowed in the front garden without me having to worry?
I mean, I read the government fact sheet, didn't like some of the things they put in there. I think they put something like it won't impact on the local transport system because we'll put them on buses and bus them out. And I thought, but these are people. They're not numbers. You can't just dump them somewhere and then talk about busing them. There's no empathy or thought, I don't think, to either side.
Well, one person who knows all too well about those local concerns is the local Conservative MP, Huw Merriman. He's received a number of messages from constituents, but as you say, he hasn't come out and opposed the plans. Now, he gave us his first and only interview on the matter today, so I started by asking him why.
I think there's nothing worse than politicians that support measures as long as it's not in their backyard. It's a real challenge for the constituents. I absolutely recognise that. It's the disappointment, and my job now is to represent and try and find the solutions and answers from the Home Office to try and mitigate some of the impacts and concerns that people understandably have.
But there is a difference, isn't there, between being a NIMBY and opposing a site that just isn't suitable. Lots of local residents say they don't believe it is. Some charities say it's not suitable either. Well,
look, the reality is whichever site is picked anywhere in the country, people that live right next door to it won't welcome it and will find reasons to say it's not suitable. There's never going to be an ideal site, an ideal solution. But if our national picture tells us that we've got people in hotels that are expensive to the taxpayer and not offering the security they should be for residents around and also for those that are inside the hotels, then a different solution has to be found. And I'm really sorry to the constituents that are impacted by it, but I'm just not going to be one of those politicians that says, yes, there's a problem, but I'm going to turn my back on a solution.
But there's a humanitarian aspect to this too, isn't there? The Refugee Council has said using a former prison has the potential to re-traumatise these asylum seekers.
Well, so one of the challenges I posed to the Home Office back in time is the connotation that it was formerly a prison. But what I'm being told by the Home Office is that they will look to take down buildings that are not suitable to house anyone and will rebuild to make sure that there is a sort of basic and reasonable level of accommodation that one would expect.
So you had the meeting with Home Office officials today. Can you tell me what you were calling for in that meeting?
We were there almost 2 hours. The Home Office officials came from London and we had our local stakeholders, so our District Council, East Sussex County Council, the NHS, Fire and Rescue, the police, and elected representatives. And it gave us the opportunity to probe more, find out more, and also list all the challenges and the assistance that we're going to need. Some of that assistance will be in the level of extra financial resources so that we can provide the services to both residents going into the site and also those already in the area. And other parts will be reassurance that the constituents need in terms of the type of people going onto the site. So one such example that we found out today is that those coming on to the site would have already been screened to ensure that they are suitable to be in a non-secure site, and those that aren't suitable will not come.
So what would you say to your constituents then? Some of them are really worried, really concerned, quite upset about this. I mean, would you apologise that they're having to go through this?
Well, what I would say to constituents is that I absolutely understand the concern and the alarm. It is big news for a relatively small town. But equally, I would say, please just be patient. I will get everything I can in terms of information into the public domain. We'll be open and transparent. I'll explain where the challenges are, how they're being mitigated, and then what steps we have to take where we can't mitigate.
Well, the challenge for Huw Merriman is that he is a government minister. So if he really wanted to come out against it, he would probably have to resign his role as rail minister. The government themselves seem pretty determined to press ahead with it. They say sites like Northye are cheaper, more orderly and more suitable than the hotels currently in use.
Charlotte in Bexhill, thank you.